Hi everybody! So something that I'm asked about quite a lot is how I find time to get a lot of the projects that I do completed, because I do have a full-time job as well as doing the podcast and doing all of my crafting. So what I thought I would do is put together a couple of videos about my kind of creative process and how it works alongside my everyday life. So this is my first ever sewing IRL in real life, and it's all about the creation of my Carol dress for my Netflix and Knit and Sew kind of series. So I hope you enjoy it. Hi guys! So this is a quick little message from Katie of the future. Woo! You see, at this point in my actual life, my Carol dress is completely finished. But I had just sat down to start editing my IRL sewing video for the Carol dress, and I realised that pretty much the first day or so of footage that I took has magically disappeared. You're not really missing much. During that day, I basically showed you how I lay out pattern pieces, how I cut my pattern pieces, and I talked about drafting the skirt. So as long as you're up to date with all of that, we can move on to the actual real footage of me making this dress in real life. So enjoy! Gonna get a haircut, gonna get a haircut. It's been so long since I've had a haircut. Like September was the last time I got a haircut, so. So one of the first bits of main construction that I need to do on the Carol dress is sorting out exactly how large these darts need to be. So what I'm going to do is take a couple of measurements, sew together the darts and do a little bit of a trial and see what fits. So apologies for the terrible lighting because it's a lot later, but I just wanted to show you what I have been doing. So I have sewn together the bodice, so I put in the bust darts and I pinned in the front darts and the back darts. And what I have done is, if you can see, all of these pins are the alterations that I've been making. So I've taken in the side seams, I've altered these seams at the front. This is basically how I kind of do alterations. What I'll then do is transfer all of these alterations onto the inside seams, and then it will be fitting. But other than that, I think it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I am altering the neckline slightly. It's a little higher here than the picture that I'm basing this off from the film. So this is the kind of point that I'm going to be lowering it to. Not sure how I'm going to do the finishing around the neckline and the sleeves yet. I was thinking about doing facings, but now I'm not so sure. I think I may look at getting bias tape, because this is twill, which is pretty thick anyway, and to have a whole other layer of that fabric as a facing is not really going to make this comfortable to wear. We'll see. That's about all I'm going to do for this evening, I think, so we will catch up again tomorrow. So it's 6:30, I've just finished work for the day. I am walking, trying not to get run over, walking back to my car, and I'm gonna head home, have some food, do some more work on the dress, yay! Driving in my little car, doo-da, doo-da. Driving in my little car. 'cause I'm going home. 7:20. Home at last. Knackered. The one thing about sewing kind of, or any kind of crafty stuff while you've been at work all day, a lot of the time I get home and I just want to sleep. Yep, just want to sleep. But I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to be dynamic. Hi! Hi! Hello, baby! Hello! Yay! 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 So all these pins that I put in here last night need to be transferred into the pattern, and the pattern needs to be adjusted accordingly. So that is what I am now going to do. Today I bought a lot of bias tape from John Lewis, which I'm going to use around the armholes and the neckline of this dress. So what I'm going to do in order to have this along the edges is trim back the seam allowances from the neckline and the armholes, because obviously I don't need seam allowances because all the raw edges are going to be enclosed with this. And then, to be honest, I will probably call it a night. So it is morning. I didn't actually get as much done as I thought I would last night. I'm on a late shift at work today. I start at 12. It's about 10:15 now. I have been up for a while. I've just been obviously had a shower, getting some breakfast, spending time with Rolly, and I am just going to do a little bit more of my dress before I go to work, because when you work, you have to find time in between things to get stuff done. So let's see if I can sneak about half an hour, 45 minutes in this morning. We'll see how we get on. So this is my bodice as I kind of left it last night. What I did was altered my darts, which are in the front here. Those are all sewn up and they're good to go. I also trimmed down the seam allowances on both the armholes and the neckline, so that's literally kind of where I wanted it to be. So I didn't get to the point where I was putting my bias tape on, which I have here. What you can probably see here, this is pre-cut bias tape. It has been folded over, like as you can see, it has two little folds. What I'm going to do, because I'm going to be putting it on the neckline of this dress, is I'm just going to press it over again so that I get a nice straight edge along here, so that I can then pop it on here and sew it straight on. Basically makes things a lot easier, and I'm just going to run over it with an iron, press it, and then start applying it to the neckline. Bias tape on the neckline. Woo! Yay! Not bad, not bad. A little bit fiddly around the back here. Whoa, that's blown out. But you get the idea. Hello! So, it's been a little bit of time since I've been working on my dress. A lot of things have kind of got in the way. Been very, very busy, been distracted by other projects, as is always the way, I guess. But today I have a day off and I am going to hopefully, fingers crossed, get this dress finished, which would be amazing. Filming this process has been interesting because it does kind of confirm to me my process and how erratic it can be. But I am glad to finally have the finish line in sight when it comes to this dress, so that I can start some new things. I haven't allowed myself to cut anything new out in fabric until I've got this dress finished, and that's kind of how I'm convincing myself to get on and get it done. But yeah, let me show you what I did last night. Okie doke, so last time I showed you I had pinned the bias tape around the neckline, which I've now sewn in place. I haven't yet sewn any bias binding around the armholes, because I want to make sure that the fit is perfect for the garment before I do that. It means I can still kind of do alterations in the side seams if I need to. I don't think I will need to. I've done a couple of fittings and everything seems to be looking good, but the second that I put bias tape around these armholes, alterations are going to be pretty much impossible. And there's Rolly. Rolly! Hi! But what I did last night was, I was initially thinking that I would use gathering for the skirt when I was attaching it to the bodice. But something that I wanted to try for a while is pleating. And this was an interesting process because obviously I've drafted this skirt myself, so this isn't working with patterns. So what I'm doing is basically kind of winging it. So I've got my pleats now fixed here, and I'm just gonna pop this right side out. Rolly is very excited about the pleats. Hi, buddy. Okay, so the key important things that I wanted to do when it came to these pleats were I wanted the first pleat to be matching up with the seam of the bodice, and also I wanted the side seams to match up with the pleats. So once that was in place, those 2 points, because I just feel that that gives a more pleasing look to the garment when the seams are lining, and also the side seam of my skirt is within this pleat, which is lined up with the side seam of the bodice. So all good. Once that was done, it was just a process of spacing these pleats evenly. As you can see, I've measured each one of them so they're all the same length. And if you can hear scratching and snorting, that is Rolly. and yeah, just fix them all in place. In order to get everything exact, I did have to use a lot of pins because as you can see, I basically pinned each pleat on each point of the pleat, so in the inner and outer points of the pleat, just to make sure that everything was lying flat and sitting exactly where I'd want it to. So my tasks for today are to basically, for one, get this stitched and finish the waist seam, do a final bit of fitting. Rolly, you're being a naughty boy, aren't you? Being loud. As I was saying, do a final bit of fitting of the dress to make sure that everything's fitting exactly as I would like to. Then what I will do is insert a zip into the back seam. I have an invisible zip that I've purchased to go in the back seam. I need to finish the hem of the dress, but I may want to hang it before I do the hem, and then basically just go through, make sure all the seams are done. The majority of seams I have used pinking because this is a relatively heavyweight fabric, and I find that pinking works well because it doesn't add any additional bulk to the seams, and it's a simple but effective finish. So yeah, I got my work cut out, but hopefully I can get a good chunk of this done today. Are you quite finished? What's that, Rolly? You want those eggs? But that's Mummy's breakfast. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, Rolly. You can have any eggs that are left over, okay? Silly boy. So this is where I currently am with the project. I have now put the bias tape around both of the armholes as well. You can see they're all pinned in place. The internal seams have been finished. I have been kind of, as I go, trimming a lot of the edges down. That's Rolly. And I've also, yeah, finished the waist seam, pinked that. My zipper is in. That's all done. I have basically kind of fitted and pinned the bias tape around the back of the dress, around the neckline, because it wasn't quite matching. One was maybe 0.5 centimetre higher than the other, which wouldn't really irritate everybody, but it's the type of thing that irritates me. So now it means when the zip is done up, they match. The only thing that I then have left to do is the hem, which I have pinned up already. I fitted the dress yesterday, tried it on, and basically it fits really, really well. I'm so happy with the fit, but it is a lot longer than I would want it to be. So this is kind of the length that I pinned up at the front, because that was easiest for me to see. And if you can just see, that is how much hem I will be losing. So what I will do is I will measure this hem length from the waist point all the way down to the bottom, and I'll do that all the way along the skirt. When this is kind of, I'll pop it on a mannequin and do that. I'll be able to see if it's sitting evenly as well when I do that, and then yeah, we'll hem it. I will finish the armholes, and we'll be laughing, guys, because it'll be finished. So I recorded my podcast wearing the dress that I basically thought was pretty much finished. And when I tried it on, as you probably know, if you've watched the podcast, there were some fit issues to do with the back seam and the zip. And I do still need to hem the dress. So basically, I'm going to unpick some of the zip, restitch it so that it fits me properly, and hem the dress, and then we're gonna have a finished dress. Oh my god! So this is my back seam. This is where the zip is, and this little section here is basically the extra little kind of hump of fabric that I showed in my podcast, which needs to get taken out rather. So I'm going to unpick the zip, and basically this section here is going to be restitched. I'm going to leave the rest as is. I don't want to completely remove the zip if I can help it, because that's just going to be a bit of a pain. So I'm going to see how much I can do with just adjusting this kind of portion in the center, and we'll see how we get on. So if you can see here, I roughly marked with one of my chalk pens the line that the zip is now going to sit on, and I've started unpicking the zip. So basically what I will do is press along this line so I get a nice sharp edge, and then reline up the zip and stitch it in place. Simple as, I hope. No more hump, yay! So I am now hemming the dress, and I wanted to take it up a touch, so I've done a tiny little turnover hem, and I've trimmed off all the excess from that, and I'm now turning it up again by about 1 3/4 inches. So yeah, 1 3/4 inches, as you can see here. I shall do a nice bit of sewing along this. I usually tend to do invisible hems, but with this I really just want to whack a hem in it, so I'm just going to do a regular stitch, so probably 2.5 length stitch around here. I might just sew directly onto this stitch line that I've already done with the tiny turn up hem, which I don't think you can see, and then this dress will be finished. Yay! Done, guys. It's totally done, like as finished as a dress can be. All of the internal seams are finished, all of the ratty little ends of threads are cut off, it's been hemmed, and it's basically hung up on the outside of my wardrobe. Let me just show you here, because this is where all my favourite finished things go, so I can wear them as soon as possible. But I am so happy, and I'm so glad that it's done, and yay! Now that I'm done sewing for the day, I'm gonna work on my void shawl. Got my knitting companion with me, but first of all, oh my word, it's treat o'clock, and it's not for you, buddy, it's for Mama.